we drove through, rivers, over river banks and through bridges and forests, and I don't know where I am in the world, somewhere in the middle of nowhere, but I'm very happy to see that Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement is thriving here. I'm not surprised because who is Mahaprabhu? Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Shangupanga Shibharshadam Yagnai Sankirtan Prayar Yajantihi Shu Medashaha. That verse says that the same person who was bluish black like a monsoon cloud, who appeared in Dupur Yuga, Swayam Bhagavan, has now again appeared in the Kali Yuga as the golden avatar. Actually, he's a combination of Radha and Krishna. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radhe Krishna Nahi Anga. Originally, Lord was one, but for his pleasure, he expanded his Ladini Shakti, his pleasure potency, as Sri Radha, the divine couple. But they again became one in the personality of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came to this world to, Krishna wanted to experience what was Radha's love for him. It's quite a deep subject matter, but Krishna is the object of everyone's love. Everyone's a devotee of Krishna. Some know it and some don't know it. Everyone's Krishna Bhakta. But who has the deepest love for Krishna is Sri Radha. And Krishna was bewildered because her love is so powerful it controls him. Krishna doesn't do, Radha doesn't do what Krishna tells her. Krishna does what Radha tells her. This is their relationship. Very sweet. This is the mood of Vrindavan in the spiritual world. So he was just mystified by this love that Radha has for him. So wanting to experience that love, he appeared in the form of a devotee, Lord Chaitanya. It's just kind of his internal reason for coming to the earth. But his most obvious reason was to establish the Yuga Dharma. Yuga Dharma means that process which is applicable to the people of that age. Because a theme runs through all the yugas. What is that theme? Atoto Brahma Jignasya. It's Vedanta Sutra. Sutra means like code, like we have Morse code. When I was in the army, we had Morse code. So to summarize all the Vedas, which are very vast, we don't have time to read them, there's the code, there's sutras. All the Vedic knowledge comes in sutras, little verses. Vedanta Sutra. So what's the first verse of Vedanta Sutra? Atato Brahma Jignasya. Addressing all of mankind for all of time, past, present, and future. Now that you've arrived at the human form of life, what's your business? To become self-realized. To understand who you are beyond this temporary bag of bones. Who is God, the Supreme Father, and what is your intimate relationship with Him? This is real progress. Material progress, okay, a little better off than our ancestors, but that's not the purpose of life. Human form of life is a golden opportunity. We can ask, who am I? Where have I come from? What happens at death? Does God exist? Animals can't do that. And because we have that ability, we have the responsibility to answer those questions. Atato Brahma Jignasya. But we're crying in the wilderness, like here. Hope I'm not offending anybody. In the middle of this forest, because we drove in the dark, I don't know what's around. I saw a few Christmas trees. We're in the dark about who we are. So Lord helps us. Just like I ran away from home. My disciples should hear this. I ran away from home when I was 14. I had a fight with my father. I said, Dad, I'm out of here. He said, hey, go. And I got to the front door, and I realized I didn't have any money. So I said, Dad, can you give me $100? So he gave me $100. It lasted 2 days, pancakes at the pancake house, ice cream, chewing gum, a ride on the bus. So I snuck back home, and I came through the basement, and the basement went up to the living room, and then from there I was going to go to my room. But when I came into the living room, there was this chair, and I just saw the back of the chair, and there was a little candle burning there. And I walked by, and my father said, "Welcome home, son." And I cried and embraced my daddy. So Dad said, I never forgot you for a moment. So in the same way, we've left the spiritual world. We foolishly left. We fell from grace to cardinal sin. Bahirmukh, we turned our face on God. And He's like the shining light. He's so effulgent. And when we turn our back on Him, we see only the shadow of material existence. And we're trying to find our way through the darkness of ignorance. So we may try to forget God. We may even deny His existence. This is like hitting a person when they're down and out. We may try to deny His existence with Mayavad philosophy or atheism, but He never forgets us. He's our ever well-wisher. So as the creation evolves, as everything does in this world, there's a beginning, there's a middle, and there's an end. On the cosmic scale, on the creation goes through different stages over and over again. There's Satya Yuga, there's Treta Yuga, there's Dwapara Yuga, and there's Kali Yuga. People are different. They're not all the same. In every age, it's not that people are the same. Time has an influence to deteriorate everything. So it's not like the scientists say we started out as, primates and became what we are now. No, it's the opposite. Satya Yuga was the golden age. 99% of the people were God conscious. So therefore, when Krishna came, He gave you do some meditation. Om. For 100,000 years. That's simple. That's appropriate for them. Next stage was Treta Yuga. Svaha, you do the yajnas. Dwapara Yuga, you go to the temple. But none of those processes work in this age. People are too fallen. Kalo Sudra Sambhavan. Everyone's born Sudra, sorry. I included. So the Lord, He didn't forget us. He didn't forget us. Krishna Varnantusha Krishnam Shangu Panga Shiparshidam. Yagnai Sankirtan Prayar Yashanti Hu Shumairashaha. He came as the golden avatar. He could be recognized by the fact that he was surrounded by his devotees and they're all chanting the holy names. He made prediction that he would go, or his holy names would go to every town and village in the world. And that includes Richmond. And this little hamlet, what's it called? Huh?
Montpellier.
What?
Montpellier.
Montpellier. That's a town, huh?
Montpellier.
Okay, whatever. Population 25, right? Well, this is how kind He is. So I'm really enlivened to see you because this is the prediction coming true. You are the prediction. You can take pride in that. You are the prediction. Somehow or other, you've been caught up in the wave of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. You've been caught up in this way. And you have each other. Even you're in the wilderness. Probably not the wilderness, right? But we came on all these back roads. We're going to Richmond, a big city. I said, the Google map must have gone wacko because we're going through all these little... So we arrived, there's devotees, look, there's devotees, there's a building. So this is how I saw it. So even here, you're practicing Krishna consciousness, sharing Krishna consciousness. That's the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the mood of Prabhupada. And your best asset, because you don't have a big temple, you don't have huge marble deities of Radha and Krishna, brass Gornitai, Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman, Krishna. You have Jota, Gornitai, Prabhupada. You don't have tens of thousands of people coming for Janmashtami. You have, what do you have? You have each other. That's your most valuable asset. That's really all you need. Of course, we have deities and we have programs on Sunday, whatever, but what you have is each other, and just with each other you can perfect your Krishna consciousness. I heard Prabhupada say one time in Geneva, he said that 75% of our progress in Krishna consciousness is as a result of association. I was surprised. I was happy because I was a Sankirtan devotee, and we didn't live in temples. We didn't have deities. I wrote Prabhupada one time, I said, Srila Prabhupada, can I install Gornitai deities in my Sankirtan van? He wrote back, no. He said, because you're doing the most important service, it takes all your time and all your energy. Deity worship will distract from that. Wow. That's not to demean deity worship. It's one of the angas, one of the main things. But Prabhupada wanted us to focus on that particular service. So we didn't have deities. We didn't even have a good cook. I was the cook. And all I could make was khichdi. So every day we'd have khichdi and bread, like that. So what we had was each other. So when we were in Geneva, and Prabhupada said 75% of our progress on the path of Krishna consciousness is due to association, I thought that was wonderful. So how is that we make progress in doing devotional service together? Because one time Prabhupada said in London, it's all connected, we take on the qualities of that with which we associate. We're tiny spirit souls. The material energy is overwhelming, it's very powerful. So how the soul associates with the material energy in the form of sattva, rajas, and tamas, he becomes conditioned, he becomes that person. But if that tiny spark of spirit soul can associate with Bhagavan or Bhagavan's devotees, then that soul can become enlightened or liberated. So we take on the qualities of that with which, if you're a business, you're a student, you want to go into business, then you go to business college and you associate with people like that, you become a businessman. If you want to be an entertainer, a rock star, an opera star, you associate with people like that. And you imbibe that way of life. It's all a question of association. So if you want to be a devotee of Krishna, you come here to this magnificent temple. It's magnificent because of all of you that are here. We take on the qualities of with that which we associate. Like the chameleon lizard. You know what the chameleon lizard is? In this country, when I was 9 years old, you could order reptiles from South America. My mom went crazy because I would take money from her purse, and with my friends we'd arrange to, right away, and we'd get lizards and toads and frogs in the mail, snakes. Yeah, in the 50s, you could just order a snake and it'd come in the package. I had something like 12 snakes in my room in a cage. One day I left the cage open by mistake. All the snakes escaped. And every few days I'd hear my mother scream, "Ah!" There's a snake behind the curtain. There was a snake in her bed. And she invited some friends over to have tea. And one of her friends went to make the tea. She opened the teapot. There was nothing, and a snake popped out. And all the ladies ran home. So you could order these reptiles from South America. Can't do that anymore. So I was really enchanted with the chameleon lizard, because the chameleon lizard, they're about that big. You put them on a green leaf, whoop, they turn green. You put them on a red paper, they turn red. You put them on something brown, they turn brown. I was just going like this all day long. Wow. So in a sense, we're like that. What we associate with, we take on that nature. So we should be smart enough by observing devotees to understand that's what we want to be. Just like in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 7th canto, which was actually Prabhupada's favorite canto for lecturing from. Most of his lectures come from there. We see two outstanding personalities, Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu. The pastimes arranged in such a way that they were very close to each other. Prahlad was a great devotee of the Lord, and his father was the greatest of demons. So as the story unfolds, you can see, how they're acting and what is their fate. It's very clear. Prahlad's one of the 12 Mahajans, one of the great authorities on devotional service, and Hiranyakashipu is a great asura. So they both have outstanding lives, but what's the end result? Well, more like this. Shringadev wore the intestines of Hiranyakashipu, and Prahlad was there. So you can compare things like that, you can get idea what you want to do. So we can study devotees, and we can see that's what we'd like to be like. Before I joined, I was what I was. I won't go into detail. But one day I came across 4 sannyasis. This is 1969. 4 sannyasis chanting on at the square at the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. And one of them was Vishnu John Swami. And he was giving a lecture about Krishna to 200 students who all went away. But I came and I said, this Krishna, can you tell me something about him? He said, no. You sit down, I'll tell you about my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. That's the process. One who says he's my devotee is not my devotee, but one who says he's the devotee of my devotee, he's my devotee. So like this, I became very attracted. And I said to him, can you spend a few days with me? He said, sure. So he and some other sannyasis stayed with me, 4 sannyasis stayed with me for 1 week. That's what it took to make me a devotee. But at the end, I said to Vishnu John, I want to be just like you. Like that. Because devotees are special. How are they special? That's described in Bhagavatam. Tadikshava kunika shuridam savadehinam ajata shatava shanta shadava shadabhushanaha. I just love that. It just flows off your tongue, that verse. The symptoms of a sadhu are that he's tolerant, merciful, and friendly to all living entities. I like to be like that. He has no enemies, he is peaceful, and he abides by the scriptures. And sadhava sadabhushanaha. All his characteristics are sublime. You can find great personalities in this world, but they all have their dark side, their secrets. Right? When Srinathji Prabhu, one of the first devotees in Bombay at that time, he was a big businessman. He recently passed away. When he first met Srila Prabhupada, because he was a businessman, businessmen are, they study people, try to figure them out. You can make money off them, or if they're good to do business with. He said he studied Srila Prabhupada for several years to see if he had any mistakes, any bad qualities. He said, I could not find one bad quality in Srila Prabhupada. He was sadhava sadhubhushanaha. All his characteristics were sublime. So one day he asked to be initiated. So like that, this is devotee. These are the people that we want to associate with. And interesting that one line is, he's friendly to all living entities. Vidya vinaya sampane brahmane gafi astani sunichaiva sapakicha pandita samadarshanaha. A truly learned person, he's trained, he's realized to not see the body a man or a woman or black or white or yellow, short or tall. He just sees the Atman. He just sees the soul. That's reality. The body's here today, is gone tomorrow. And how many bodies have we had? In so many ways through the eons of time. So who's the real person? The soul. And souls are all coming from Krishna, the Supreme Father. We're all brothers and sisters. This is the peace formula. There'll be no peace on this planet until this realization given by ISKCON is there. War is not a solution. Even diplomacy, giving money, it's a transcendental knowledge to bring peace to the world. So therefore, a devotee, he's actually friendly to everyone. So therefore, it's for that reason, the Lord uses devotees to purify the world. Because he doesn't stay around very long. Krishna came, he was here 148 years. Mahaprabhu was here for 48 years. Lord Nrsingadev came and he killed Hiranyakashipu, he went home to Vaikuntha. One incarnation for one devotee, that's how kind God is. But in his absence, the Brahmanas, they're considered the gods on earth. Not that they're God, but they're godly. They preach the divine command. They enlighten people. Prabhupada came to the West, he wanted to create a class of Brahmanas from Malechas and Yavanas. He came from Bharat. Bharat means a land of light, truth. He came to Malechadesh, America, sorry. He came to Malechadesh and he made the hippies into happies. As bell metal can be changed into gold by a mystical process, so a fallen, conditioned soul can be made into a Brahmana, Vaishnava, by proper training and Diksha. It's almost mystical. So then, Prabhupada used those devotees to start purifying the world. One time he told us in London, he said, just as Lord Ramachandra used monkeys and bears to conquer Lanka and kill Ravana, so I'm conquering the world with my disciples. I thought, I'm a monkey or bear? I didn't get it at first. So this is described how the Lord uses his representatives, the Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas, to purify the world. 11th canto, 14th chapter, verse 16. Nirapeksha muninam shantam, nivaryam shamadharshanam. Wonderful verse, listen. With the dust of my devotees' lotus feet, I desire to purify the material worlds which are situated within me. Thus I always follow the footsteps of my pure devotees, who are free from all personal desire, wrapped in thought of my pastimes, peaceful, without any feelings of enmity, and of equal disposition everywhere. That's you. I'm going to read it again. With the dust of my devotees' lotus feet, I desire to purify the material worlds. We're the instruments of the Lord, which are situated within me. Thus I always follow the footsteps of my pure devotees, who are all free from personal desire, wrapped in thought of my pastimes, peaceful, without any feelings of enmity, and of an equal disposition everywhere. So you're purifying this wilderness. You're purifying this part of this great country of America. Because you have to share your good fortune. That was Prabhupada's mood, wasn't it? He was who he was, or is in the spiritual world. But when he came here, he was just sharing his good fortune with others. So association, I was thinking on the way, association with devotees, who are all sadhus, has a cooling effect on those of us who are burning in the blazing fire of material existence, right? We're all getting burned. We're all the samsara, this repetition of birth and death, the blazing fire of material existence. By associating with sadhus, we get cooled off. Chashtanam shitalam loke, chastan adhapi chandrama. Chastra chastan ayor madhye shitala sharu shaskati. Sanskrit, it's so nice. On this planet, the intrinsic nature of sandalwood is that it has a very cooling effect amongst other refrigerants. More cooling than sandalwood is the moon. And even more cooling than sandalwood and the moon is the association of a sadhu. That'd make a good tattoo. I'm not into tattoos, I'm just saying. Chashtamam shitalam loke, chashtan adhapi chandrama. Chandra chashtana yor madhye shitala sharu shashkati. Shitala sharu shashkati. On this planet, the intrinsic nature of sandalwood is that it's very cooling amongst other refrigerants. But more cooling than sandalwood is the moon. And even more cooling than sandalwood and the moon is the association of a sadhu. So I keep saying, maybe you think we need this, or to build a big temple, have to install the... Okay, just keep it simple. And just preach Krishna consciousness. Take this like a bhajan kutir, where you come together. And of course, in the future, maybe, but I'm just saying that this is all you need. Your association. And the amazing thing is that only a little bit of association with devotees brings the most amazing results. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 2254. Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastra Koi, Lavamatta Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoy. The verdict of all revealed scriptures is that even by a moment's association with a pure devotee, one can attain all success. So therefore it's included in that famous verse, Madhya 28, Madhya Lila 22, 128. Sadhu Sangha Nam Kirtan Bhagavata Shravana Mathura Vasa Shri Mutira Shradaya Shevana. Kind of like a formula for becoming Krishna conscious. Like, what do I have to do? Well, one should associate with devotees, chant the holy names, hear Srimad Bhagavatam, recite at Mathura, and worship the deity with faith and veneration. But even out of those, the most important is devotees, because, chanting Hare Krishna, but to perfect chanting Hare Krishna, you have to be initiated into the chanting of Hare Krishna. Because by chanting, anybody can become free from karma. Anyone can uproot material desires. But Shastra says if you want prem, Braj prem, the goal of Krishna consciousness, oh Govinda, feeling your separation, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain. Krishna, I'm feeling all vacant in your absence. I love you. For that, you have to get initiated into the mantra that gives that. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. So, yes, chanting Hare Krishna, but you need a devotee. Bhagavatam, we have to hear Bhagavatam from a devotee, not a professional reciter. Sapta Brahm, what do they call it? Sapta, the 7-day course they have. Bhagavad Sapta. I've seen Mayavadis giving that in India. Shankaracharya, the senior Sankaracharya, when I was in Puri, he was speaking on Krishna Leela. Like, what? You have to hear from a devotee. There's the Bhagavatam and there's the person Bhagavatam. So even that, one of the Angas, you're hearing Bhagavatam, you need a devotee. And to live in a place like Mathura or Vrindavan, you'll be just a tourist if you don't hear from devotees what is Vrindavan. Because a saintly person, he sees with his ears, not with his eyes. So we need devotee. And to worship the deity, what do we know of Krishna? Prabhupada is the one who taught us how to dress Krishna, how to feed Krishna, how to have festivals for Krishna. Because Prabhupada knows Krishna. He has an intimate relationship. So even for deity worship, we need a devotee. Devotees are everything. And even a little association can bring the greatest result. I'll conclude with a little pastime. I about a devotee. We heard it from Prabhupada, about how important is devotee association. One time there was this thief. He lived in Bihar, and he was such a thief that he'd actually somehow stolen from everybody in the village. Everyone knew him, and everyone tried to avoid him because he was so expert. There wasn't a person in the village that he had not stolen from. So he was thinking, I have nothing left to do here. I'm a thief. That's what I'm a thief. What am I going to do? There's no one left to steal from. So one day, a Parikrama party of Vaishnava was going from Jagannath Puri to Vrindavan. So as he saw them going by, he saw, ladies had earrings and bangles and Mangala Sutra, and some of the men, they had some jewelry as well, and people were carrying money, and he was thinking, if I travel with them, I can steal. So he was about to run and join them, but he thought, scraggly hair, beard, dirty clothes, hadn't bathed in months, hadn't brushed his teeth in a year. He thinks, if I go like this, they'll know I'm a thief. So he went to the barber, and he shaved his head and got a sika. He brushed his teeth. In India they brush their teeth on the street. They're brushing his teeth. He had some money, so he bought a dhoti and a kurta, some chapal, like that. And he got some chandan, he put tilak on. I look just like these people. And he got a little bag and like that. And then as they were going through the town, he came up and, Namaste. Can I join you? Where are you going? We're going on pilgrimage. Oh, I want also to go on pilgrimage. So they, Vaishnavas are very soft-hearted. Come, join us. So he joined them. And for a few days he was kind of walking and imitating them, Haribol. And then one night he started to get down to business. And he would wake up at the night time and he would go through people's bags. And to make it, look like he wasn't involved, he'd switch people's bags with other people's bags. So they'd wake up in the morning, where's my bag? And then, you have it, and nothing left. Big fights would go on like this. So this was going on for some time, and after a few months, because it takes a long time to walk from Puri to Vrindavan, it takes 3 months actually. Then he was exhausted, he stole from pretty much everybody, but he still wasn't satisfied. This is the nature of material desire. It's like, instead of putting out the fire, you're putting ghee on the fire and it's blazing. So I need more. So he used to not go to the Bhagavatam class because he wasn't interested at all. He'd sleep through it. And one day he decided to go to the Bhagavatam class. And the sannyasi who was giving the class was speaking about Bhagavan. And how Parashara Muni says that Bhagavan means the person who has all 6 opulences: beauty, strength, knowledge, renunciation, and wealth. And the sannyasi kind of elaborated. He said, Bhagavan, he's the richest person in creation. And the sadhu, our friend the thief, he was kind of falling asleep, and he heard the richest person in creation. He woke up. Whoa, what's he talking about? Bhagavan, he's the richest person in creation. He's wide awake now. Sit properly, he's sitting properly. And so then at the end, the sannyasi asked, is there any questions? So he's the first one. This Bhagavan, like I'm really interested, because he has all those things, right? So can you give me his address? He gave me his address. So the sannyasi said, well, yes, Bhagavan, he lives in Vrindavan. Oh, Vrindavan, where's Vrindavan? Hey, we're on our way, but it's far away. He said, no, just give me the direction. And so the sannyasi straight down this road, about 2 months, and that thief started running. I mean, he probably would have, beat Usain Bolt. He ran and he ran and he ran, and I think he made it in 1 month. And when he got there, it was just a forest. So they said, wait a minute, how does the richest person in creation live in a jungle like this? He's kind of confused, but because the sannyasi was so, in his lecture, he was like, Bhagavan and this and that. He said, I'm going to find this Bhagavan. So he's kind of, walking around and looking, and, a few sages there, cooking roti and taking bath and Yamuna and like this. He said, really? He must have some secret underground palace or something, this Bhagavan. So after about 2 weeks, he got really frustrated. So he just started calling out, Bhagavan! Bhagavan! Where are you? I want to meet you, Bhagavan! And one sadhu came up and said, what are you doing? He said, I really want to meet Bhagavan. So the sadhu said, that's not what we call him here. In South India, Aishvarya Bhav, they call him Bhagavan. Well, he has a personal name. He has a personal name. So the thief said, yeah? What's his name? So the sadhu said, Krishna. Krishna. So the thief said, okay, maybe I got it wrong. So instead of Bhagavan, I should be calling out, Krishna, where are you? And sadhu said, yes, that's what you do. That's what we do here. So the thief said, have you met him, this Krishna? Sadhu said, no, Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlava. It's said in the scriptures it takes many lifetimes. So the thief said, no, not for me. I'm not going to wait lifetimes. I came all the way from Bihar. I'm not going to wait lifetimes to meet this Krishna, the richest. So he said, he grabbed the sadhu by the hand. How do I meet him? The sadhu said, authorized process is to chant his names. Okay, Bhagavan, Krishna, Krishna. No, the sadhu said. He'll come if you chant like this. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare. So the thief said, I'll do any beep thing I have to do to meet him. So I'll chant that, those names. So, like, how do I do it? So the sadhu said, you sit under this tree here, and these are some beads, some beads, just because your mind wanders, right? The thief said, yeah, money, gold, diamonds, rubies. So he said, you take the beads and you chant on each bead, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. And the thief said, how many times? He said, you go around 64 times. 64 times? Well, that's what it takes. So the thief said, I am determined. Money is the honey. Money is the honey. It's so sweet. It can't be beat. Money is the honey. And the sadhu said, stop, that's not the mantra. You chant Hare Krishna. So he said, okay. So he sat under that tree. Now, what are the trees in Vrindavan? They're called praviksha trees, right? Chintamani pakasatamasu kalpraviksha laksha viteshu shutabir abhipaliyantam Lakshmi Sahasra Sutta Sambramya Sevimanam Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham. Desire tree. So he's sitting under a desire tree. Hello. So he's chanting for 1 year, every day, 64 rounds. Nothing's happening because we have to chant without offenses. But still, there's some purification. Even sinful people can be attracted. Like Prabhupada said to us one time, you are all sinful, very degraded young boys and girls. But when you heard the chanting of Hare Krishna, you came running. I just love that. That's my generation, that's our qualification. We're bad boys. We heard the chanting, we dropped it all and ran to Prabhupada's lotus feet. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So 1 year later, this old sadhu who he'd met, he came by. Oh, I remember you. You came to find Bhagavan. And I told you his family name is Krishna. So how's it going? Okay, up it to 192 rounds a day. That's what Srila Haridas Thakur. And even today I spent a lot of time in Vrindavan. I've met a number of sadhus. Out of Suryakund, I met one sadhu, he'd been there 30 years, every day 192 rounds. He'd take bath, he'd take a little rest, some roti, he'd do madhukari, he'd go begging. Perfectly happy. Before he was one of the biggest businessmen in India, he dropped it and came there, yeah. He was shining like the sun. I said, you need anything? I have everything, what I need. You sit here and chant with me. I tried after like 69 rounds. Anyway, so that the thief, he started chanting 192 rounds a day. Nothing happened. The next year, this sadhu came. He was coming on pilgrimage. He came. Ah, you're the one that was the Bhagavan. Yeah. How's it going? So then the sadhu said, okay, I want you to go out, there's a little mountain nearby, it's called Govardhan Hill. You go and you chant there, and you go around the mountain in the morning, once, in the afternoon, and in the evening. You go 3 times around. You know Govardhan Parikrama? Who's done Govardhan Parikrama? Like after one time, I want to get back to the MBT. Take a shower and go to the restaurant. But he did it. For 5 years. Every day, he'd be chanting 192 rounds around Giriraj. Giriraj, Govardhan Lala, Vamsiwala Ki. Giriraj is one of the 5 personalities who grants residence in Vrindavan. A very exceptional personality. Like Shiva, the Jamuna River, Jamuna, and Gopishwar Mahadev, Brajrenu. So Giriraj is you have Giriraj, you can see Giriraj. I know that spot actually where that photo is taken. And so that's what he did. 5 years. You know, his heart started getting a little softened. And I started doubting, his purpose in being there. Like, I kind of like it here. There's no big palaces and soft beds with silk sheets and, crystal chandeliers and marble bathrooms. He's just thinking, no, that's actually what I want. Yeah, that's what I want. But wait a minute. Starting to get a little confused, right? So it works, the process. So the next 5 years later, the sadhu comes back. How are you doing? He says, look at my feet. I'm skinny. I don't have time to eat. I don't have time to sleep. I just chant that Bhagavan's family name all day long. And still I haven't met him. So the sadhu said, okay, you know when you go around Giriraj, at the top there's two lakes, Radhakund and Shamakund. So every day I want you to take bath. You take bath in Radhakund, then you take bath in Shamakund. You come back, take bath. Because one who takes bath in Radhakund gets the same love that Radha has for Krishna. And if you take bath in Shamakund, you get the same love that Shyam has for Radha. It's not water, it's liquid nectar. Don't speculate. It's liquid prem. It's liquid love. It's Radharani's, Srimati Radharani's personal bathing place, and Shyam. So that's what he did. 3 times a day. Radhakund, Shamakund, Shamakund, Radhakund. 3 times a day. Now, all that's going to have to do something. I don't know, right? So he's sitting under a Kalpavriksha tree at Govardhan Hill after his parikrama that day, and is bathing in Radhakund and Shamakund. Just finished his 192 rounds. The sun's starting to set, and someone tapped on his shoulder. This is a little boy. And he said, oh, little boy, oh, finally I get some company. I'm like here all alone all day. How are you, little boy? Oh, I'm fine. Really? How old are you? 7. Shouldn't you be with your mother? I escape sometimes. To do what? To be with my girlfriends. You're 7 and you have girlfriends? Unlimited. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And do you know this place? I know all places everywhere. You're a little conceited, aren't you? No. It's true. Anyway, come on. Sit next to me. So, yeah, you know. You know what I do? I'm a thief. And the boy said, I know. How do you know? I know. Oh boy, this kid's really special. Okay, well, what do you do? I'm a thief too. What? Yep. They don't catch you? Everybody knows it. Especially the Matajis. Oh boy. Wow! That's amazing! I'm a thief! Give me a big hug! The little boy hugged him. And the thief said, well, I steal gold and jewels and pearls and silver. And what do you steal? Butter. Oh, you just steal butter? I love butter. Makan. You love butter. I love butter. How much? This much. I love butter. Yeah, okay. Do you steal anything else? I steal girls' hearts. Oh, that's gross. Like you kill them and take out their hearts? Not exactly. I steal all girls' hearts. Okay. All right. It's like, so what do I call you? What do I call you? You can call me Makanchor. What does Makanchor mean? I'm butter thief. Okay, you little conceited butter thief. Anyway, Makanchor. Hey, where did you go? Makanchor. I like that little boy. Oh well. Hare Krishna, Krishna. 193. Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Next day, Govardhan Parikrama 3 times. Bathing Radhakund, bathing Shamakund. just sitting and thinking about that boy. He's thinking this, I don't know, I mean, there's a lot of kids playing around here. Something special about that boy. Hey, Makanshore! Whoa, Makanshore! Makanshore, Makanshore, Makanshore. Whoa, Makanshore! Yes? I was calling you. I know. You've been calling me for a long time. Makanshore, I only called you for 2 minutes. No. Anyway, Makanshore, I just want to say, Makanshore, why do you keep doing this to me? Makanshore, you come and then you go. And all day and all night, I'm just thinking about you. In fact, I'm getting so attached to you, I don't know why. Well, Baba, you were doing Govardhan Parikama, and you were chanting Hare Krishna, you were bathing in Radha Kunjam. I don't know why I'm getting so attracted to you, but I really miss you. And you know, now I don't even care about the reason I came here to find Bhagavan, to find Krishna. I don't want the gold anymore. I don't want the silver anymore. I don't want the jewels anymore. I don't want all the wealth, the fame, the prestige. I just want you, Makanshore. I'm here. Ah, Makanshore, you're here. Come sit on my lap. Give me a big hug. Give me a big hug. The thief said, you know what? I don't want anything anymore. I just want to stay here in this forest of Vrindavan, do my parikama, chant Hare Krishna, bathe in Radhakund and Shamakund. I don't know what happened to me. Oh, what to do? Okay, well, I wanted to ask you, Makanshore, do you have any other names? Any nicknames your friends call you? And Makanshore said, yes. All my most intimate friends, mom, dad, my cowherd friends, and the gopis and Sri Radhe, they call me Krishna. And when the thief heard that, you're Krishna. Yes, I'm Krishna. I didn't know. Krishna said, but I know. You've been calling me for so many years, been calling my name, but I had to wait until you were qualified that I could come and sit with you and hug you. So the thief, he gave up his occupation of the thief. He stayed in Vrindavan, and every day Krishna would come and they'd have sweet pastimes together. Hare Krishna. So my point is, how did it all happen? Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shushtu Koi, Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Initially, he had association with devotees. And even though he was in a proper way, it changed him. The chameleon has a nature that if you put him on red, he becomes red. You put him on green, he becomes green. You put him on brown, we have a nature. We can be overwhelmed by the material energy, but if we place ourselves in Krishna consciousness, that Krishna conscious atmosphere, no matter what, in due time, you'll also get a tap on your shoulder. That's what will happen. Prabhupada has promised us. He said one time in LA, and he installed the small deities of Radha Krishna. If you worship these brass deities, like I've been telling you, if you think they're brass, they'll remain brass to you forever. But if you worship them according to prescribed rules and regulations of deity worship, he said, one day these deities will speak to you. So we have that opportunity. Why? Because we have each other. We have sadhu sangha. We call this meeting, right? Sadhu sangha. We can come together. And just like the thief who had, you're not sinful people. He was a very sinful person. But a little association with those Vaishnavas took him to Braj. And when he was in Braj, a little association with the sadhu who trained him in the process of Krishna consciousness purified him. Cheto dharpana marjanam. And awoke that love for makanchor for Krishna. So my advice is just stick together. Your real wealth, your real opulence is each other. Come together as often as possible. Chant Hare Krishna. Dance in ecstasy. You need a little more training on dancing, by the way. The men all have boots on. I don't know. You dance in ecstasy. Take nice prasadam. And make nice progress in Krishna consciousness. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Swami Maharaj ki jai!